Blender comes with a number of add-on programs that carry out specific functions. In addition, the Blender community has developed many more. I find only a few of these programs are really useful. I'm going to list and briefly describe the 10 I use. The Cycles render engine comes with Blender, but may not be activated. To activate it, and any other Blender add-on, you open the Preferences window and select the Add-on tab. Search for Cycles and ensure that the activation box is checked. The Cycles render engine is found in the Properties window under the Render Properties tab. This is the render engine you will use most of the time when modeling Trainz assets. The tinyCAD Mesh Tools was originally an add-on developed by the community and offered for sale separately. But the add-on proved so useful that Blender incorporated it, and it now comes with Blender. To activate it, you open the Preferences window, select the Add-on tab, and search for Tiny, and ensure that the activation checkbox is checked. In edit mode, the add-on appears in the 3D editor window at the top of the pop-up window that appears when you use your right mouse button. The tinyCAD Mesh Tools has several options, but I use only one, VTX Auto, found at the top of the options list. This option splits two intersecting edges. Here we have two intersecting edges. By selecting both of the edges and then VTX Auto, the edges are split at the point of intersection. Each segment can then be manipulated separately. The LoopTool add-on comes with Blender. To activate it, open the Preferences window, select the Add-on tab, and search for Loop. Then ensure that the activation checkbox is checked. The LoopTool is found in the Properties panel under the Edit tab. Opening the chevron reveals a number of options. For example, G-stretch can straighten selected vertices into a straight line. Flatten can smooth selected faces into a flat surface. The FBX Format add-on comes with Blender. It is used to export the finished Blender model to Trainz. To activate it, you open the Preferences window, select the Add-on tab, search for FBX, and ensure that the activation checkbox is checked. In object mode, with the model selected, the model can be exported from Blender by selecting the File menu, Export, and FBX. The Synchronize Workspace add-on is a useful add-on, which I have turned on all of the time. In Blender by default, the view can be different in each of the workspaces. For example, here is Suzanne in the Layout, Files, UV Edit, and PBR Painter workspaces. While this flexibility can be useful, I find that most of the time I would rather have the same view when I switch between workspaces. Synchronize Workspaces places a button at the right-hand end of the 3D Editor's menu bar, which allows you to synchronize the views. At the moment, due to circumstances beyond the author's control, this add-on is not available from Blender Market. Hopefully, this is only temporary. The Quicksnap add-on enhances the snapping function built into Blender. With the Quicksnap add-on, you select an element, vertex, edge, or face, and snap it to the target vertex. For example, here we have two cubes. In Edit mode and Vertex Selection mode, you can select a vertex of the active mesh and quick snap it to another vertex in the scene. You select the vertex to be moved, then quick snap, keyboard shortcut Shift plus Control plus the V key. When you position the mouse cursor over the selected vertex, it changes to a four-headed arrow. You can then drag the vertex to the target vertex. The path will be outlined in green, as will the original location of the vertex being moved and the location of the target vertex. When the mouse is released, the moved vertex will snap to the target vertex. Note that the vertex that has been moved will not be merged with the target vertex. To merge the two vertices, you will need to turn on X-ray mode and box select the two vertices. Then merge. Keyboard shortcut M key and select at center. The element being moved can be an edge or a face. For example, by selecting an edge, then quick snap, keyboard shortcut Shift plus Control plus the V key, one of the end vertices can be moved to another vertex. Likewise, by selecting a face, then quick snap, keyboard shortcut Shift plus Control plus the V key, one of the vertices of the face can be moved to another vertex. In object mode, a mesh may be grabbed by its center of origin, and the center of origin moved to a vertex. There are several add-ons that enhance Blender's ability to arrange the faces of a mesh once they have been laid out in 2D space for texturing. My preference is the UV Packmaster 3 add-on. It installs a bit differently than other Blender add-ons, as you have to install not only the add-on, but also a Packmaster engine. So follow carefully the installation instructions that come with the add-on. Once installed, Selecting the UV editing workspace, and with the mouse cursor hovered over the UV editing window on the left, opening the Properties panel, keyboard shortcut the N key, will reveal the UV PackMaster tab. Selecting the tab reveals the controls, and if installed correctly, you should see the PackMaster engine installed and listed at the top. All of Blender's primitives come with a UV map assigned. So, with the mouse cursor hovered over the 3D editor window on the right, if you select the cube, keyboard shortcut the A key, you will see the UV map in the UV editor window on the left. I'll move the cube away from the world origin. With the mouse cursor hovered over the 3D editor window on the right, I'll use the keyboard shortcut the G key, then the Y key, and drag the cube on the Y-axis. Now I'll add Suzanne. Keyboard shortcut Shift plus the A key, and in the pop-up menu I'll select Monkey. Notice that the UV map has several parts. That's because it is divided into what is known as islands. In the UV editor window, if I select the UV Sync selection icon in the upper left-hand corner, all of the islands in the UV editor window will be selected, as are all of the faces in the 3D editor window. If I box select an island in the UV editor window, only that island is now selected in the 3D editor window. This can be more easily seen by hiding the rest of the mesh in the 3D editor window. Keyboard shortcut Shift plus the H key. I'll use Alt plus the H key to unhide. Now notice that the UV map of Suzanne overlaps the UV map of the cube. This is where UV PackMaster 3 comes in. As a rule, the UV maps must fit within the square grid in the UV editor window and not overlap. With both meshes, the monkey and the cube selected, I can fit the UV maps within the grid and without overlapping by selecting Pack. Let's undo the last action using Command plus the Z key. UV PackMaster 3 has several options for packing, which we will explore later as we make models. Here's an example. If I uncheck Rotate Enabled, I can prevent the islands from being rotated during packing. However, the packing is not done as well. The goal of UV packing is to pack the islands as tightly as possible. UV PackMaster 3 options are designed to achieve this. The Blender Add-on UV Toolkit has some functions that I like to use to achieve the best use of UV map space. In particular, I like UV Toolkit's ability to stack islands, which are going to have the same texture applied. For example, Suzanne's eyes are identical islands. With UV Toolkit, it is easy to stack these on top of each other, and thereby use less of the UV map space for the eyes. In the UV editor window, I can box select the eyes, then turn UV Sync off. Reselect the islands, open the UV Toolkit tab, and select Stack Islands. This is a function sadly lacking in UV PackMaster 3. which for me requires having both UV packing programs available. Blender has built-in capability to texture models, but it is somewhat limiting. Some Trainz modelers use Substance Painter to texture models, but it is rather expensive to buy and even more expensive to access via a subscription. I've found that the PBR Painter add-on does pretty much everything you'd want to do with respect to texturing models for import into Trainz. Being an add-on, it has the added advantage of integrating the texturing process right into Blender. The PBR Painter add-on is installed in the usual way, but with one additional step: adding a PBR Painter workspace. After downloading the zip file, you open the Preferences window, select the Add-on tab, and then select Install. You then locate the zip file you downloaded and select it and load it without opening it. You check the checkbox to activate it. Then you open the chevron and load the PBR Painter workspace by selecting Load PBR Painter Workspace. The PBR Painter workspace will appear to the left of the other workspaces you have loaded. I like to move it to the right end of the list by right mouse button selecting it and then in the download menu selecting Reorder to Back. The PBR Painter add-on allows you to add materials, import PBR material sets, diffuse, normal, roughness, etc., and apply them to different parts of your model. Using masks, you can add effects such as dirt, grime, rust, edge wear, paint cracks, etc. Then you can bake out the diffuse, normal, and parameter files needed for import of a Blender asset into Trainz. As an add-on, integration into Blender and the ability to create the output files needed for Trainz makes PBR Painter ideal for texturing Trainz assets. When texturing with PBR Painter, I use the Blender add-on Texture Folders to store PBR material sets downloaded from the internet. After downloading the zip file, open the Preferences window, select the Add-on tab, and then select Install. Then locate the zip file you downloaded and select and load it without opening it. Check the checkbox to activate it. Texture Folders is found in the Properties panel of the 3D Editor window. To use Texture Folders, you first download the PBR material sets from the internet and store them in a folder on your hard drive. I like to organize the downloaded PBR material texture sets into categories: bark, brick, wood, etc. I also like to start the name of each with a unique number, which makes it easier to locate the set. The number is applied to the folder and to the base color file. To locate a texture with Texture Folders, in the 3D Editor window's Properties panel, You open the Texture Folders tab and select Link New Texture Folder. You navigate to where you stored your downloaded PBR material texture sets and select a category, for example, brick. You then select the viewing window to see images of the contents of the folder. Selecting an image will reveal its name with the assigned number, which can then be used to load the PBR material texture set into PBR Painter. If you wish to see a larger view of the texture, you can select Texture Plane. Any number of folders can be loaded into Texture Folder for easy access.